Hello, good evening, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Uh, this is after a while. Had a little bit of issues so the last weeks. All right, everything is okay now. In this lesson number 6, I'm going to talk about the calendar effects and the scheduling options. Some important scheduling options. So up to lesson number 5, we talk about uh, the relationships, how to keep the proper relationships with lags, and how to avoid the leads, and we talk about that. So we'll quickly jump into today's subject, calendar effects and scheduling options. So first we look at the calendar effects. uh, Usually in project scheduling, when you use Primavera P6 as your scheduling tool, uh, we need to assign some calendars. It could be a single calendar, but could be different calendars depending upon your project requirements. So usually, as a general practice, we have a calendar for site works, calendar for office works, and calendar for client approvals. And this is not limited to these options, but for this exercise I'm showing these three calendars, the effect of these three calendars, but there could be many more calendars to be assigned depending upon your project requirements. It is uh, clearly written in your conditions of contract, so you need to read that out before you fix the calendars in the schedule. All right. So and then the calendar assignments. So okay, let's get back to the primavera. Okay, if you remember my lesson 5, and you know the project start date is 1st January 23 and the project completion date 1st January 24. But look at the calendar there. It's okay, all the dates are been set, and all the links have been established, and we got the completion date as per the project data. But you see the calendar that has been assigned to all of the activities is 7-day work week, which is not right, and that is not the requirement in your contract. Let's assume that your site works will be happening over the 6 days in a week, and 1 day off, probably Sunday. And your office will work only 5 days per week, and the office is closed at weekends. And the same calendar might be used for client approval, because client also working, usually most of the clients um, off to the work on weekends. So let's assume uh, that scenario, and so we'll work everything else based on that. All right. um, all right, how to create your calendar, that is the first step you need to understand. All right, I'll show you how to create the calendar from Primavera Basics. Not a difficult task. Okay, in your main menu, go to all the way up to Enterprise and come to the option called Calendars here. Click on that. All right, when you click the calendar option there, and you get three options. One is the global calendar, one is the resource calendar, which is not used at this stage, but I will show you later how do we use the resource calendars and what is the effect of resource calendars, but not today's session. Okay, we have the global calendars, we have the resource calendars, and we have the project calendars. The project calendars is specific for the project that we are dealing with, but the global calendar, it is available to be able to assign to any of the projects that you are working on. You can choose whatever calendars from the global list, and you can assign to the project. But if you create specific project calendars, that will only available for that specific project if you open the project. Okay, keep that in mind. Right, I have already created the calendar for site works and the calendar for the office works. If you open the site work calendar, right, go and click on modify. Just come back to our project start date, which is January. Okay, you see the Sunday is a non-working day, and all the other days has the standard working hours, which is 8 hours per day. And this has all the way up to January 24. But the best practice is just create your calendar uh, for the uh, following 2 to 3 years, maybe maximum would be ideal to have the calendar set for the next 2 years, because this is a baseline, and uh, you will get into a situation where you have to update your progress, and your forecast completion date will get shifted when you do the progress updates. You can't keep always into the plan dates or the baseline dates. So when you get into that point, and automatically primavera should be able to capture the right date. So you better assign the calendars, or create the calendars based on whatever the requirements in the contract, condition of contract, for the next 2 years basically. All right, and that will be the same for the office calendars as well. Okay, click OK, and the office calendar, if you modify and or come back to January, February, January, right, you can see Sunday is off and Saturday is off, but I have just created that calendar up to March. But when you do in real practice, you do it properly, and you do the calendar, create the calendar, set all the dates up to the date you want. Okay, and this is just an example. And how do you make this date is a working day or non-working day, or as an exception? You see the down three icon here. One is standards, which is this color, non-work is light blue, and exception is white. Okay, if you click here, and you can edit this one by clicking one of these um, buttons here. If you click work, and it will come as an uh, exception, because uh, that means you might have different working hours set on Sundays, but you can make it as standard. That will come, it will be equal to the rest of the days. Okay, uh, so keep it as standard, and if you want to put that date back to non-work, just click on non-work. So it's that simple to work on. Okay, click OK. So your site work calendar is ready, your office work calendar is ready. So we need another calendar called client approval. I'll show you how to add the calendar. Okay, the only way is, before you add in the calendar, you have because you open this project. Okay, this is, you can see only the project specific calendars, but if you want to create something new, that's easily you can take it from the global calendars. Click on the global. Okay, and oh, click on project, and click this add button here. That's the easiest way. Okay, click this add button here, and when you add this button, so make sure that you display all the global calendars here. So you have to choose from this list one of these calendar, and you can modify afterwards. So the best way is get this 7-day work week calendar and rename this as ABC client approval, client approval. All right, then you can start modifying the calendar. So click on modify, and you know what to do now. So go back to your project starting date, the month that you want, 1st January 23. Client approved calendar will be the same as the office calendar. So I'm gonna set that as same as the office work calendar, which is Sunday is off and Saturday is off. Alright, click on this, and pressing the control button, you can select the date you want and click non-work. Go to next month, February, and click on Sundays and Saturdays and click non-work. So this is the way that you have to do it. Okay, if you have any other days that client is not working, for example 15 February, you can select that date and click as non-working day. So you can click OK. So your calendar is ready. So this is just an example, and you need to set your calendar exactly match with your project requirements. You need to comply with the project requirements or the conditions of contract. So keep in mind. All right, your calendar is all set and close. Okay, now your calendar is ready. Okay, so now I'm going to assign those calendars to the activities. So first, easily I know uh, mobilization office and permits and obtain construction NOC from all concerned authorities. That will be done based on the office calendar. So click on that, and you see display global calendars, but you have to display the project calendars in this case because you are working on this specific project. You have your office work calendar, just assign that. And once you assign to this activity and you know what other activities you need this calendar, just click on that and press control button and select the other activities that you need to assign and right click and fill down, so it's automatically gets added. All right, and the other client approval calendar, I would say that you need that calendar for like approval of design shop drawings. I'll assign this client approval calendar. Okay, and again select the other activities that you want that calendar to be assigned and press the control button and go to the next activity you want. I would say method statement and approval of material submittals. So, and I will right click and fill down. So it's all set. Okay, now that calendars has been assigned. The easiest way, and all the rest of the activities I'm going to assign the um, um, 6 days working day calendar, which is site work calendar. So easiest way, if you have many number of activities, if you have more than 1000 2000 activities, easiest way, just go and group and sort and remove the grouping and click apply. And if you come over here in calendar, that heading, just click over there and sort it based on the calendar types. You see, so all the way up to here we need to assign that 6 days working calendar. All right, that will be the easiest way. Okay, keep in mind and assign that calendar to the first activity here, which is site work. And okay, I'll give you another trick. When you assign that, it automatically gets added at the bottom because to this list. Because so if you want to avoid that, uh, you can do that by right. So let's see how we can do that. There is option. Okay, so because otherwise you have to go one by one. Okay, so I think that's probably should be here now. We okay, enterprise tools. All right, anyway, so don't worry about that for now. And it's okay. So I'm just giving you something which is easy for you to avoid that. uh, maybe I don't have that options here. Yeah, I can't find that, sorry about that, but doesn't matter really. Okay, it doesn't matter. So you can do one thing, so you can do this way, and see, now we took everything onto the top of the list, and click the site work. Okay, it's all there, and now you can come all the way down up to the last activity that you want and fill down. Okay, that is done. Okay, but let me figure out, there is a shortcut for doing that, but sorry I couldn't find it, but yeah, maybe it's because of my version, I don't know. I'll show you, but this is the easiest way. So you done with your calendar assignments, and now you can go back and put your grouping, WBA structure, and keep it the intent. All right, all levels. Okay, okay, click OK, and you sort it by the finish date. All right, so you can see now uh, the calendar, all the calendars have been assigned, and now you have to schedule it again because you have assigned a different calendar. Data days is the same, and schedule it. So see where it goes. The project completion date goes to 3rd March 24. Right, 3rd March 24. uh, Keep in mind the milestones. Maybe you can have the 7 days work week calendar. It doesn't really, especially for the start date, just to keep the date right, and you schedule it. So see what has happened. uh, the completion date has been pushed to 3rd March 24, but this is not the date we want. We want 1st January 24. Now what you have to do, and you just go through the critical path, okay, and see whether you can reduce some of the relation, see whether you can take some of the activities in parallel. Okay, you can you perform some of the activities in parallel and reduce some of the duration, reduce some of the lags, and bring it back to 1st of January 24, because that is your contractual project completion date. Okay, but you need to do this very realistically, and it should make sense. You can't reduce the duration from, like, if you have a activity for 20 days and you can just bring it down to 1 day. You can't do that. You have to play with a number of activities, and it should make sense. Okay, you have to have a very realistic duration. It can be, it was 20 days before, but it could be, once you change, could be like 15 days. It doesn't really matter. Okay, because it doesn't affect your productivity much. So you have to go all the way from top to bottom through the critical path and try to reduce some of the relation, and uh, put some change some links, and change some uh, the lags if you have, and then you need to bring it back to 1st of January 24 with this calendar assignments, and that will fit your schedule to the project requirement. Okay, so I hope you understand what is the effect of calendar, and but next video I'm going to show you what is the effect of resource calendars as well. Okay, but quickly now, everything's all right, but we got all the links established and clear, and got, let's say we got the correct project completion date, but still I feel like if something is missing, because I know uh, what is that, because we have certain settings that need to be set when we scheduling the project or the schedule. Okay, when we press 9, okay, that should capture the correct scheduling options. Okay, where you can see that when you press the schedule option here and click on, or otherwise you can click the F9, and you can see. So before you schedule, you can see these options here. Okay, click on options, and these are the options that you have. All right, see some of the option we need to set it out, and what does it means to us, and what does it means to primavera. Okay, so if you look at here, the mainly, if you look at the first one, ignore relationships to end from other project, and from to end from other projects. No, you can't tick that on, because if you have links, some interfaces between other projects, you can't really ignore that relationships to and from other projects. So keep in mind, because have to inter you need to interconnect between activities in those two projects. So okay, when you are dealing with a single project, uh, you might not uh, get uh, into this situation to have internal links between projects, because you just have a single project. But if you are working in a portfolio, and definitely you will end up having lots of interfaces and putting the right interconnections between activities. So there, if you click that one, the primavera will ignore that relationship. So keep that open. Make open-ended activities critical. No, you can't have open-ended activities, and you can't make that open-ended activities critical. Open-ended means it doesn't have any success, which doesn't make sense, and there is no way that activity completion is going where we don't know, so which is not correct. Use expected finish date. Yes, we have to choose the option expected finish date. This is just a baseline, but you will know 100% exactly what does it means to us, and what does it means to primavera, and what is the use of using this option to use expected finish date. But tick that on. And next one is schedule automatically when a change affects it. Now level resourcing during scheduling, now that you need to deal with manually, and you need to uh, spend some time going through it, uh, review it, and you have to do that, but not automatically. So recalculate assignment costs after scheduling, no. uh, that's something that we have to talk about in our upcoming lessons. Okay, just don't worry about that, but keep in mind use expected finish dates. And okay, when scheduling progress activities use, this is one of the most important one that you need to set it up. But forget it now, I will come back to that, but just move on to the next one. Calculate to start lag from. Yes, early start date. Okay, what is early start date, what is a late start date, early finish, late finish, I will show you later. I know some of you know the fundamentals, if you know the forward pass, backward pass, but I will show you how to get it from primavera and what does it means. Okay, uh, define critical activities. The basic fundamental is, we know if an activity is critical, that means it doesn't have any float, or even it could be a negative float if the activity is in delay. But that is a fundamental. But yeah, when you define your critical activities, just you can define the criticality the way you want. It could be 0 hours, or you can say when the activity float reaches 2 days or 2 hours, then you ask primavera to show that activity as critical. So you can set it up then, but general practice is total float less than or equal to 0. And the other option is longest path. If you select the longest path as your critical activities, and there will be only one path in your schedule, and there won't be any other. But usually in a schedule, once you start with the progress updating and all, when you keep moving the schedule to the progress stage, and then uh, there will be number of critical paths, and you would like to see those critical paths. And there can be one longest path, but there could be different critical paths, float paths. So best practice is just define the critical activities as based on the float value, and the value of the float, it's up to you, it's up to the project requirements. So okay, it's up to the whoever managing the project, right? And then calculate float based on finish date of each project. Yes, the 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 float has to be unique to the each project, not from, can't calculate the float from other projects, except we are in a situation where we work on a portfolio and we are dealing with number of projects. Situation might be slightly different, but if you're managing a single project, yes, the float value has to be calculated based on each project. But if you have interfaces between the other project, that this theory or the scenario could be different. Compute total float, yeah, you need to understand the fundamental theory behind what is total float, what is the free float. Okay, the equation for that is finished float. We compute the total float from finished float. If it is finished float, then it will be late finish minus early finish. Just um, just keep this formula in mind. If you really don't know, don't try to figure it out. But I will show you exactly how we can get these dates from Primavera. Like what is the late finish date, what is the early finish date, and what is the fundamental theory behind the finish float. And the other one is calendar for scheduling relationship lags. Yes, we use the predecessor activity calendar. It's always based on the predecessor, and then we moving forward with the success activity. So just the driving calendar for any of those successes always would be the predecessor activity calendar. It could be some instances that we on the successor calendar, but to get a uh, realistic or to keep the schedule in a proper integrity, and I think the best practice is to keep the predecessor activity calendar. So everything is the lags and all will be calculated based on the predecessor activity calendar. Okay, which makes sense to me. And that's all the option that you need to understand. This is our general options, and you have some advanced setting as well. But I think it's too early for you to uh, for us to talk about this. We'll come back to this later. Okay, let's focus on these general scheduling options. All right. So what I really wanted to show you about these scheduling progress options, there are three. One is retain logic, one is progress override, one is the actual dates. You will get different results when you choose these options. When you change these options, you will get definitely different results and different outcome. And yeah, it really matters, and it uh, more towards uh, contractual requirements, and the the way how the client is looking at your schedule, and if you are a contractor, how you uh, look into the scheduling requirements, and what is the project scheduling requirements, and yeah, different situations, different requirements. But um, the general practice is we need to keep this scheduling progress option as retain logic, not the other ones. Uh, there are certain instances that we can use the progress overrides, but in many of the major construction projects, it will be retain logic because it leads to different um, platforms, it leads to different discussions, requirements contractually. So uh, it's good to keep this option as retain logic. But let's see what are the changes that we can see when you use these options. Okay, just close it. Okay, first is retain logic. Okay, close it. Right, cancel it now. I'm going to open a different project just for show you of the um, the difference between the these options. When you select these options, and how would you see that? All right, see, you have a project, then 1st January 23, and shall it. Okay, remove it, and see, imagine this is your original program or the baseline program. Okay, right, if you go back to my presentation over here, right, you saw these options, and see, retain logic, what does it mean? Okay, it says when an activity starts out of sequence, okay, cannot finish until its predecessor has finished. The remaining duration of the out of sequence activity will be scheduled to begin after the predecessor is finished. Okay, and that means the retained logic respect the network logic. If you have a baseline program, if you have two activities, let's say A and B, and it says from the original logic you have to start activity B once you completed the activity A. Okay, but in actual situation you have started the activity B but you have not started the activity A. So what happens? But your remaining duration or the remaining portion of that activity will be scheduled according to the retain logic option. Okay, and progress override simply is the opposite of retain logic and is simply uh, ignore the network logic. So it simulates the reality, and the actual dates, which is this option, is nowhere uh, used much, and this is not an ideal option to be used. But if you use the actual dates, it's kind of a manual entering and it takes a lot of time, uh, can lead to some human errors. So this is um, not in use. It's not a good practice. But let's see what's the difference. Okay, just get back to primavera. All right, see, the first option is retain logic. Okay, see these two schedules here. Okay, see the first one, this is our original baseline program, and the second snapshot below, it shows after scheduling with the retain logic options to a different data date. See, mobilization office, the original logic is the mobilization office need to be finished to start with the permits, but actually what happened, you have completed the permits but your office mobilization is still not started. Okay, but see, and then you obtain construction NOC from all concerned authority. That should occur after you get the permits. But Primavera accept the original network logic and keeps and obtain construction NOCs will occur after mobilization office is completed. So Primavera accept the network logic. Okay, if you see that here, for example, okay, this not started. Okay, but permit, let's say it is in progress, and it started somewhere in 10th of January and it goes all the way up to, let's say, for 20th of February, and I'm going to schedule this one to 1st of February 23 and schedule it. See what happens. Okay, um, yeah, so data dates is 1st February 23. So what happens, um, mobilization of office. Okay, see the options here. I'm not sure what option you have selected. Okay, sorry, we have selected progress override. I'll just change it to retain logic and close it and schedule it again. See what happens. Okay, uh, okay, I change something to 27 February, should make sense. Okay, if you enlarge a bit, maybe I'll just to show you, I'll put some 7th of March. Okay, the expected finish date. See what happened here. So it's actually, see, the mobilization office is still not started, but your permit is in progress. But see, the remaining portion of permits still accept the original network logic, and it's going to occur after your mobilization of site mobilization office is completed. So that accept the original um, network logic. All right. Okay, that's how the retain logic is working. Okay, um, if you go back here and you see this option, which is the progress overrides, uh, see, mobilization office is not started same as before, but your permit is, let's say, is completed, And when you schedule with progress override options and you obtain construction NOC, it ignores the original network logic, and the link between the mobilization office and the permits will become redundant, and the remaining the portion of your obtained construction NOCs will come to the data date, and they will come to the data date. The starting date will be the data date, and uh, the activity will be scheduled accordingly. So it actually ignores the original network logic. Okay, it in a way, I would say it simulates the reality. Of course, you can change the start date, but as a default, when you schedule some activities which is not started, and it will automatically bring come to the data date if the predecessor has been completed. Okay, so when you go here to Primavera, and I will change this option to progress override, click close and schedule it, see what happens. And this mobilization and the permits, you can see this straight line has become a dotted line, which means it's become a redundant link, and uh, the obtained construction NOCs will occur soon after your permit is completed. And okay, and if you say that permit is completed, and then you schedule it for the same data date, which is 1st February 23, and your start date for the obtained construction permit will fall on the data date, and that's how it is. The other option is, let's say you use actual dates. What happens? We are not using this option, but I'm going to show you what happens when you use the actual date. It considers uh, the actual dates. Sometimes we might have wrong actual dates in the schedule, but still Primavera uh, accept the actual dates, and uh, the remaining activities uh, will follow the logic based on the actual date. So imagine that uh, first case is okay, uh, activity is completed, okay, and then if you change these options to actual dates, close it and schedule, see again this link has become a straight link, hard relationships, because it considers the behavior of the actual date. So this has not completed, and but this is started, and uh, then we'll follow the obtained construction will follow the sequence from the permits, uh, as the permits have been completed. Okay, uh, because here also that it ignores the original network logic, but it uh, accept the behavior of actual dates. Okay, this does make sense, because okay, permits have been completed, and yeah, you can start your obtaining construction NOCs once you done with your permits. But see, when you use actual dates, imagine that you have an finish date for this activity for permits after your data date, which is normally we can't have actual dates after your data date. And but if you have by mistake, if you have an actual date after your data date, and if you have selected the scheduling options as actual dates, okay, close it and schedule it, and this obtained construction NOC also will follow the same, and it will occur after the actual dates, actual finish date of permits, which is wrong. So that's why I'm not encouraging to use these actual date options, but yes, you can use the retain logic and the progress overrides, but the best option is to have retain logic, set it in your schedule, but there are some circumstances that you can use the progress overrides, because progress override, it simulates the reality and it's clear of all the out of sequence, but contractually you may have situation where you keep the original logic, because it leads up to several contractual interpretation. So it's really it's subjective, but it's good to keep the retained logic options there. All right, this is the okay. You saw the effect of the calendars, and this is the most important scheduling option that you need to set it at the beginning. All right, this is it for today. I hope you enjoy the video, and see you next time.